Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the XrmToolCast. In this episode, we interview MVPs Gus Gonzalez and Nick Hayduk about their new tool, PowerText. As we walk through the tool, we will find out that although Nick is an excellent developer, he may lack some sales skills. And Gus, as he's been on before, once again demonstrates his skill at getting other people to do his dev work. And the rest of the show is mostly Jonas and I making requests for updates for something that isn't even live yet. And at the end, Jonas also shares an update on the Fetch XML Builder. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the XrmToolCast. With me, your host, Daryl Always Raising the Bar, and Jonas fresh off the boat rap. Jonas, how's it going?
Well, I'm off the boat, so it's worse than it was.
And this is your own boat you have for vacation you take?
Yeah, I'm actually sharing with two of my cousins, and we take turns going out over the summers.
Okay, all right. Makes it a little bit easier on the pocketbook and a little bit more fun, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
It's kind of like the free meal versus the $100 meal. The free meal, even if it's halfway decent, usually tastes better than the $100 one. The $100 one isn't up to par, so we'll play it.
That's true for boats as well.
So I was having a meeting this last week and found out a brand new tool. I don't even know if it's out yet, but it's another brainchild of our guest today and our actually a repeat guest, and then we have a new guest as well. So our repeat guest is Gus Gonzalez. Gus, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for inviting me back. I am the, I guess, the non-developer that has been in the show the most. I believe. I don't know. I don't keep statistics, but.
Yep. And then the other guest we have in here is he refers to himself as the other Canadian, I guess, but Nick Hayduk. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
All right. Gus, MVP for 7 years, 8 years,
9.
somewhere in there? 9? Okay.
So far, yeah.
All right. Sorry. I should think better of you than I do, I guess. And Nick, you're, this is your second time now?
Yeah, I'm less than a year, but two
times?
times already, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Getting all those extra submissions in. That's always fun. So
My new ring just arrived in the mail yesterday.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I love, by the way, and this is off topic, like everything I'll say in this episode since I don't talk developer, but Joel Lindstrom recorded a great video. I don't know if you saw it, of the progression of giving thanks for like MVPs, like MVP for the first year, second year. I love the one for the 5th year because that I've heard that so many times. He said something like MVP for the 5th time. He's like, oh, I've been an MVP for a decade or something like that. Where they exaggerate the number of MVP awards.
For almost a decade, because I round up. Yeah,
exactly. Sure. That happens a lot. It happened to me. I did something where I was training active duty military personnel here in the U.S. to make a transition into the IT, into an IT career essentially after they left the Army. And I invited an MVP. I'm not gonna say the name, but I invited an MVP who has less MVP awards than me, and I think I had like 7 at the time or 6. And he said I've been an MVP for 10 years. Like talking to this, and he got his award after me, and I'm like, dude. I didn't want to correct him, but I thought it was hilarious when Joel said it. I'm like, oh yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I'm actually approaching close to a decade now, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, well, this was my 5th year, so yeah, I guess I'm almost to a decade.
You've been maybe more 10 years.
All right, so the tool.
Yes.
This is another brainchild where Gus says, hey, I've got this idea, and he seeks out somebody that he thinks he can coerce into creating it for him. And so far, at least he's two as far as I know. Maybe he does this more often, and he has some failures in his pocket. But the name of the tool is PowerText. And I have to say, the name of it and what it sounded like at first wasn't as impressive as what it was when I actually saw it in action. So give a little background about how this came to be, and then Nick, you can chime in with what was involved with creating and how we can get access to it.
Yes, thank you. So like you mentioned, it's another one of those ideas that I have because I can never, actually build the tools. I just come up with ideas. There's way many more ideas that they get shut down, by the way. You too, Jonas and you, Daryl, have shut down multiple. Like I don't know how many. at this point that I reach out and I'm like, yeah, I have this idea, and then you guys are like, that's stupid, and I'm like, all right, fine, all right, fine, I agree. But yeah, this last idea was it came in a combination of two things. Number one, an ask from one of our customers on a project that I'm working on. And then one plugin that I saw in Google Chrome that I thought could be changed to achieve essentially what my customer was asking. But the goal is, our customer, or the customer that I'm working with, they take a lot of notes in Dynamics, which is great. But a lot of the notes that they take essentially reference a lot of the fields that are in the form where they're entering a note. So if they're entering comments in a field like the description field, or entering, information in one of the fields, they want to be able to reference. So I'll give you an example in this case from this customer is if they're on the case form, they want to be able to enter, for example, a resolution where it says, the name of the customer, the name of the problem, the actual product that was having a problem, and reference some other fields. And they were saying like, look, we have some customers that have a really long name, and entering all that stuff is taking forever. So is there any way that we can enter a key combination or maybe a quick shortcut that would populate the name of the customer or whatever field that we're trying to pull automatically and enter that, and it will save us a lot of time. So I started doing some research, started thinking about, could this be a tool that you install in your computer? Could this be I don't know what way we can make this happen. So I started doing some research in Google Chrome. I'm like, there's a plugin for everything. There's got to be something out there. And I found this plugin called the Auto Text Expander. It's been out for a long time, I guess. And the person who created it, kind of placed it online as a public open source project, essentially. So because it's web related, is related to a browser, I started thinking about who would be the perfect person to do this. Not so much that I can convince to do it, but that would have actually the skills to do it. And obviously Nick came to mind. I reached out to him. I gave him kind of like a little demo. This is what he does. Do you think we can change this to work with Dynamics? He said, I don't know, but I'll give it a shot. And next thing you know, we have a tool that actually works. And obviously Nick can add how he made it work and all of that.
All the magic stuff that you have no idea. So to back up here, let's say, so the usefulness of this, if you ever tried to go and like copy the name of a lookup field or something like that, and then try to like paste that into another text, it's very painful. It doesn't work out very well. Like there's the what's the name of it? Level Up. The Level Up plugin like has like an ability to do that because you can't really do it out of the box very easily at all. And so this would allow you basically just to have a little shortcut that you use to go and pull a particular field from the form and take that text value and insert it into whatever text box you happen to be in on the form at that point in time. So so think of it like that, where you have some fields that you're on that you're wanting to reference, maybe just the account name or something simple, or it could be something more complicated where it's the date that they said they wanted to show up in the office or something, and you want to send a little message on that or something like that. All that kind of fun stuff could get used and configured via that. So Nick, let's go through the magic here. What was involved with this tool? What is it on a technical level?
Yeah, so when Gus reached out to me, one of the things that I really kind of liked about it is that it was a completely different audience for tools than we're used to, right? Typically, the tools that we're writing are the end customer is actually the partners who are building this out, but this is actually a tool for the people who are using Dynamics or model-driven apps. So that's one of the things I liked about it. But to actually do it, thankfully, Gus, as Gus mentioned, there's already a Chrome extension that does this, and it's available on GitHub. So essentially, all we had to do was take that. I just forked that and added some additional stuff that would talk to the talking to the model-driven app and pull out the information and kind of fill in that information. So the tool that already existed already had this kind of macro type thing where you could say insert the current date, or you could have some of these different things. So that kind of out of the box, people some of the common things would be like you could type in HBD and that would put out happy birthday, things like that. But again, they also support things like dates where you could say I just want to write today and to put in the date for me. So that's kind of similar to what we're talking about here. What I typically used for testing was you type in last name and then it pulls the last name field from the form and kind of puts it wherever you happen to be typing. So the tool was actually, it did 99% of the work for me. I just had to write in kind of an extra handler function that said, I'm defining if you type in, these special characters. When you do that, then kind of go into the form context and pull out the data from the actual model-driven app.
So I gotta ask, does it get that data from what's available in the form, or does it actually query the backend for the information? I mean, could you do your own lookups, for instance, to look up this information from that related entity and so on? Or is it what's already visually there on the form?
Yeah, so in this first version, it does only kind of look at what's in the form. Like it's literally just going into xrm.page and going in and saying get attribute based on what that they've configured in the shortcut. It's kind of pulling whatever's available there. In theory, you could probably make it do a query. The problem is that as you're typing, like it has to be very, very responsive, because essentially as you're typing, if you type in the word last name, immediately that content gets swapped out. So you don't really have too much of a, ability to kind of wait for a request to come back on that. I didn't try it, but I'm kind of thinking that the delay in there is going to be so much that the user experience would be pretty terrible, that you'd have kind of text disappearing and showing up and all that sort of stuff. So right now it's just kind of what's immediately available on the page.
All right. So and you refer to the information you wanna grab by like the label in the current user's display language, I guess.
It's based on the schema name.
Oh, the schema name. Yeah, that makes it easier for us. Maybe not so much easier for the actual users.
Yep. That's a good point.
Where's the drop down? Come on, Nick. I mean, on a drop down of the fields. Come on, man.
Yeah, because what you actually have to do is you have to configure all of these potential options ahead of time, right? So you basically have a list of settings where you say, if I type this, then I want you to output that. And again, this tool was designed, primarily it has nothing to do with dynamics. So a lot of them are just kind of static. A good example would be your email signature. So you could just type in the word signature and boop, like out comes your whole email signature if you wanted to use that type of capability. So when you're actually setting it up, you're not in the context of a model-driven app at all. You're in this kind of other settings pane that has nothing to do with dynamics. So we don't really have a reference to what the fields might be at that point.
Okay, and since it's a browser extension, I assume that this needs to be done by everyone that want to use it for the XRM context. And sorry, Microsoft, I still call it XRM.
You're right. No, you're right. It needs to be done. But the beautiful thing about the tool that we essentially used as our foundation is that it has those capabilities of importing, exporting, backing up your shortcuts and stuff. So I guess
you could have your organization-wide settings for this extension.
Correct. So like your admin could create them and then just send you the file, you import it in your local machine, and it works.
Okay, great. So did you, now that you forked the original repository and created this, did you submit a pull request for it? So now it's extendable to the Dynamics, XRM.
So I have not. So the original one is actually, I don't want to call it dead, but there's a more recent version in GitHub than there is in the actual Chrome store. So there's been kind of a couple people who have kind of, I think, taken over perhaps maintenance of it. So at this point, all I've done is I've taken a fork and we'll be taking that and then putting that into the Chrome store.
Okay. Yeah.
So one of the confusing things may be like the fields that have the same display name but different logical names for different entities. Does it handle that nicely to say, hey, go grab this field exists, and this field exists, and this field exists, like to just kind of go through the different possibilities? Or is it strictly like one field name to the shortcut?
Yeah, because it's only in the context of the page that you're on, right? So there's only going to be one. It's only going to get attributes of, if you're on, say, the contact form, it's only going to be able to pull the attributes from whatever contact that you happen to be looking at on the form right there.
Yeah, so let's say that I want to have something that automatically takes the name of the entity. well, the name of the entity could be first full name, it could be account name, it could be like different things.
Gotcha.
Is there
Yeah, right now it's
any-
just again based on looking up what the attribute is, like literally goes into like the get attribute, dot value sort of thing. So right now it would be you'd have to actually have the logical name.
All right, so now I guess I need to put an issue that, hey, you need to be able to have multiple ones. That way you could say, if it's, and put an order to it and say, grab this value if it's here, this value it's here, this value it's here. That way you could say, give me the name and have it work for multiple forms because the name could be different. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Daryl, you want to take over and make some of this stuff up? No, because it's true. Like if you let's say you come up with a system where you use asterisk name every time you want to pick the name of that specific record. You want to make that a variable or whatever. It's something that should work everywhere. Right now in the tool, you cannot have two shortcuts with the same asterisk name or whatever you decide to use to trigger it. So the way it works right now is if you enter the shortcut and the field is not in the form, like for example, I created one for the customer name in the case form. If I try that on the opportunity form and it's not called customer ID, just like it's called in the case, then it's just not going to pull anything. It's just going to enter the shortcut and ignore it. But how could you do something where that specific keyword or shortcut, as it's called in the tool, works, that you can enter it like, okay, it could be this field or that field or that field or that field. Just pull it based on where you are. That's interesting. Right now we don't have that.
Yeah, but that would be actually pretty easy to do because what you could do is, once the tool is out there and you see the syntax, you're really just, it almost looks like a function call. So we could just have, instead of just specifying one name, you could just specify, as many comma delimited names as you want, and we would just go through those in order till we found one that matches. And if we get to the end and it matches none, well then too bad for you. But we could go through them kind of in order that way.
Well, then get to work, Nick. Like, let's.
That'll be done by the end of the podcast.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking when you described it at first, Gus, I didn't really see the picture, but now that I know what the tool does, could you just walk me through what's a common usage scenario that you see for this?
Yeah. So for me, it was mainly about when customers are entering a lot of information. For example, if you're in an appointment and you're entering notes, depending on what you're trying to enter, this could be beneficial. For example, if the way you enter notes for the customer that I was working with, they enter notes where they reference the customer, they reference the contact in the case, they reference the entitlement to say what kind of contract they were used, because they use this for reports. So when they extract a report from the case entity, they have a field essentially that contains who was the customer, who do you talk to, what contract did you use to resolve the problem, what product was having the issue, and what was the resolution. All of that in just one single field. And trying to enter something like Bank of America, and like you're typing all this information, it takes forever. Whereas if you have something that is like %1 and that enters the name of the customer, and %2 enters the entitlement, which is a huge name as well, it just saves them a lot of time because they enter a lot of information. Yeah.
So would it work with? Does it trigger on key press, or would it work to have a sort of template texts where you have all these asterisk 1 and 2 and so on, and you paste the whole block and it would replace everything at once?
Good question.
Yeah, so it is kind of it is more based on kind of key press.
Mm-hmm.
It's so anyone who's kind of worked with JavaScript and the keyboard and all that sort of stuff, it's a bit hacky the way that the original kind of code works. So you kind of can only look at the last word that has been typed into whatever box you're looking at. So if you were to paste, I believe if you paste, it will kind of pick up the last one. But if it pastes in a whole bunch, it doesn't go through that whole bit of text. Right. There's also a bit of a timeout. I think it's about half a second where if you type in your shortcut very, very slowly, eventually it just kind of
it forgets the context.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's so much room for feature improvements here, right?
You want to take over, Jonas?
No, Daryl was first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, there is, because like I said, the whole kind of idea of replacing the text is a bit it's a bit complicated. And if you look at the original extension, there's a whole bunch of things that it doesn't support. As soon as you start getting into some of those fancier rich text editors, so like one thing they said is hey, we had a version where we tried to make it work in Google Docs and we failed, so it doesn't work in Google Docs. So kind of standard input fields it works in, multi-line, that sort of things. And some, if over the last couple of years they've been adding, it works in Salesforce, and some other types of things like that. So they've added, Zendesk. It does work in Outlook, and so the great thing about this tool is that yes, it'll work. Our extension adds on the ability to do stuff in a model-driven app. But once you kind of get the hang of it, you can also add whatever shortcuts you want, and it does work in Outlook, and it does work kind of wherever you want it to work. Obviously, it doesn't pull the Dynamics data in those other pages, but it is a pretty cool productivity tool once you get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that there's a similar thing I've been looking a little bit at. It's called the XTL, XRM Templating Language. It's on GitHub by Florian Krönert. We'll have the link in the show notes. It does this more or less, but not live natively, so not as you type, but it's rather server-side processing, so it replaces stuff as you sort of submit your information, and with the curly braces around or something like that. So, but this thing you're doing, it's more live on the fly, and I kind of like that you immediately see what you'll get, and if you won't get it.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So is this already on the Chrome Web Store, or are you still have you yet to post it?
Depending on when you release the podcast, I'm literally working. Like, I'd expect it to be up at some point, today, kind of thing. So it should be up there pretty quick.
Okay, all right. So yeah, it should definitely be live by the time this podcast posts. We have one in the queue already, so we'll have a link to it in the show notes for you to go and download and play, and then figure out all the stuff that you want Nick to spend all of his time doing and fixing for you, since it's a free tool.
Yeah, if you have any comments, my email address is gus at
Elevate Solutions.
I'll forward to you, so no worries.
So one of these things that's kind of funny is when you deal with a tool like this, there are so many like options that you could do to improve it, or to make it better, or to add a feature, or features you could add, that it becomes very difficult to figure out what is it going to make sense for the end user versus what do I think is just kind of fun to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can add in 5 different things. Oh, it does this. Oh, it does this. Oh, it does this. And then you're like, I don't know what to do at all. And I think that's an issue with any tool, any tool that we create as developers, even the citizen developers, the adding all these features and stuff, and you just presented with a whole gobbledygook, and you're not sure what exactly you should be focusing on and stuff like that. So yeah, is there a line that you draw there, Nick, or is there something that you thought about adding? Was like, no, I don't want to add to it, or have you pretty much just did everything Gus told you to do?
Yeah, no, I'm not an ideas person. I just I take my orders from Mr. Gonzalez over there, or sir, as he asked me to call him. To be honest, kind of what scares me the most about this project is that people will start using it and they'll actually find bugs in because there's literally like thousands of lines of code in this thing that I've never even looked at, and I'm not responsible. I didn't write them. So if people are complaining like, oh, when I type this, it doesn't replace as fast as all these things where it's like, I don't really want to get into having to rewrite the whole underlying engine. We've just added this nice little thing on top of it. So if people don't like the underlying engine, honestly, I don't think I'll spend all the time to rewrite all of that sort of stuff. So hopefully, it seems to work in my testing, but like I said, the whole kind of idea of replacing text as you type it, I think is kind of it's an ongoing battle as browsers change the way they do things, and the key press event, how fast it fires, and what all that sort of stuff is just that's what scares me, is that 6 months down the road, there'll be something broken in the underlying tool that will make the relatively small lines of code that I've written obsolete.
Or even the key press fire event is not supported technically, right?
Sure, if you say so.
Are we supposed to encourage people to try this thing, or
No, I want people to use it, but I just don't.
Well, you're not doing a good job. Like you're telling people like, oh, more than likely, like you install this, and within 6 months, your computer hard drive will be formatted. You'll need a new laptop. Your screen will catch on fire. Like what?
So this is an episode on how disastrous it can be to have Gus give you an assignment.
Yeah, by the end of it, we'll be like, you know what?
Exactly.
Forget it. Don't use it. It's bad.
Well, I have to tell you, sorry, drifting a bit here, but since you mentioned which features to focus on, and I mean what is usable and so on, I actually had someone submit an issue for one of my tools saying that he didn't like the color schemes of the formatted XML. So I think I spent 2 or 3 hours last night making it configurable to specify the colors of the XML text, just because I could. I think that that user of mine should be grateful.
Wow.
And I have a bunch of code that I will need to maintain, until this tool dies. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, I think it's important to sort of choose your battles with the code.
Well, you just finished a change that I requested. I don't even know if it's been released yet for the Fetch XML Builder.
No, actually,
concept of having, is that released already?
No, I started the automated build pipeline just before this episode, and it failed somehow. So I'm gonna have a look at that maybe later tonight. It will be out there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So my request for filling in the listeners and that was to be able to have a list of like admin queries already built into the Fetch XML Builder. So things that would be admin related. Hey, I want to get my list of roles or list of the roles for a particular user or something like that. Stuff that would be something that would be fairly easy to have like a standard. Hey, this is to go out and query that kind of stuff. So, or maybe my plugin steps or something stupid like that. But yeah.
And I'm just enabling you. You make sure you create those queries.
And then we share it with the community?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. That was off topic.
All right. Let's go back to our guests.
Is Gus and Nick still here?
I just woke up.
they're here.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yes.
Short break from our sponsors.
Right.
Got to keep the lights on.
Yep.
Right. I will say though, and just to stay off topic because who cares? I will say that there's one thing that I released a video in the 2-Minute Tuesday series a few weeks ago about how to use auto numbers, right? Because a lot of people didn't even know that if you go to the Power Apps Maker, you can do a auto number because people are still using the classic stuff, which is fine. But somebody asked a really good question, which was, okay, so I see that you add the field, great stuff. It works great going forward. But what about all the fields before? What about all the records before? Now that field is empty, right? So I started thinking about, okay, so this might be a really good place for an XRM toolbox that will allow us to do this. So I started doing some research, and I found that you wrote an article, Jonas, that essentially teaches people how to do this, teaches people how to fix it. Now, I'm saying it here publicly because I'm probably going to share it in 2-Minute Tuesday. I'll give you credit for it because you came up with it. But I will say
nice
that,
guy.
yeah, but I will
nice.
say that I think it makes more sense if it was a tool.
Yeah, to have all the steps that I described packaged and ready.
Yeah, I mean, I think either the attribute manager for Daryl's or your auto number tool, like somebody should have an enhancement to an existing tool that should do that, especially because we know how to do it. I mean, you wrote the step-by-step instructions on how to get it done, so this is not a secret. I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but that is definitely a good solution to have, and it would be great if I could go into a tool and say, grab this view, execute, and then it will just go and do all the auto numbers for all of those records. So anyway, that is also off topic, but another idea that will for sure be ignored.
Yeah. And we're sharing that idea with the universe now, so feel free to pick it up and create your tool to do that.
Exactly. See?
Yes.
Ignored.
Yeah.
Yes. You can ignore it as quickly as you'd like to.
So I guess in this episode about the Power Text tool, we will need a link to my blog article as well in the show notes.
All right.
Only if you're going to create the tool for it. If not,
No, it's for the universe to create it.
the universe.
Okay, so back to your power text. Do you see any obvious sort of improvements, enhancements to this, or are we at, is it done? Is it 1.0 and leaving it as is?
No, I think, well, I'm almost done that one request about multiple, fallback fields. So there's that one. I guess that'll be in version 1. But so right now it does support attributes, text and option sets and dates. And so I tried to kind of handle all the most common scenarios. But, if you want to start getting into fancier things like, maybe I don't want to follow my date format. So there's things like that. And somehow maybe getting into related entities. And as I kind of discussed, if there is a way that makes it feasible to pull data that's maybe not on the form, that sort of thing. I'm kind of curious as to if I could make something like that work. Or again, the limitation there will be the kind of the key press stuff. So maybe there's another way of doing that where you're not so kind of reliant on, as people are typing, swapping out text. So
the only way I could see that working, Nick, is if you would figure out on load of the form, it would figure out what fields you would need that were remote and just go and query those every single time. So that way they weren't having to be asynchronous, but that would
yeah. So maybe I can get a little bit into how the tool actually works. Because for me, the number of lines of code that it took to do this was, it was pretty minimal because Microsoft does all the work to get you the values once you know the name of the field. But it's kind of interesting. I don't know if any of you have written an extension for Chrome before, but I do want to kind of give a shout out to Natraj who does the Level Up plugin, because I basically just went through his code to see kind of how you start interacting with the XRM namespace from a Chrome extension. Because what's different, and so you have access to the window object, but it's not actually the real window object. It's kind of a different window object that you get. So I couldn't figure out why I couldn't just do like window.xrm, right? Like why wasn't that not working? And it's because you don't have, there are certain things that it doesn't give you, even though it looks like the full window object. It actually doesn't give you access to any of the custom variables that are in that namespace. So by going through the code, you can see that what you actually have to do is you have to inject a script into the page, which of course I'm sure is completely unsupported. But you have to essentially, from your extension, you have to inject a script onto the page, which then, because that script is on the page itself, can then interact with that code. So it was a little bit hacky. So I was kind of curious that, you guys have written a lot more of these types of tools than I do. I personally don't, I try not to stray too much into the unsupported stuff, but for some reason I felt I had no, qualms about doing it when I was writing a tool like this, because, it wasn't it's not a client project. It's not something that, something that I'll have to support. It's not your client
project. It's Gus's client project.
Well, yeah, it's Gus's client project. But I kind of...
It's only going into the Chrome extension store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I kind of felt like, because this is like a tool that people are using, that I didn't care so much about whether what I was doing was supported or not. Like, I don't know if you guys have kind of run into something like that before, where you're using things that are undocumented or not technically supported, but because it's a tool, for some reason I just felt that I didn't care so much, because it wasn't like I don't even know how to describe why I didn't care, but I just didn't care because it was a tool.
Wow.
Are you sure
were you
This
drinking?
is a disaster.
Yeah. Well, like even things like, and you guys can correct me where I'm wrong here, because I'm not, I've done enough JavaScript development in the kind of in the form context, but the static getting the kind of the attributes by just doing xrm.page, that is going away, is it not?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're supposed to get that from the when the form context, right? That's passed in when your events happen. Well, we've got no event here, right? So how else am I supposed to get the xrm.page variable?
Yeah, that's the part that I was kind of wondering about, because there's no quote unquote supported way for you to go get access to the actual XRM object model, like form context. There's no supported way to do it in the tool. Now, a lot of people argue about, you never do things that are unsupported. I'm like, no, you do them knowing that you've got a hole, and when it breaks, you go, no, you have to fix it if you want to fix it. So I recently did that for a client where I was using the why can't we add a filtering ability to subgrids on the form? Like, why can't we do that? Like, there's no supported way of doing that. And there was an unsupported way it worked a while ago for the old UI, and it broke in the new UI, so I had to go figure out how to fix it. So, it took 2 days to figure out how to get it to work again. But hey, I got it to work and shared it for everyone else to use. But so yeah, I think that's going to be the same case. Because when you're said, oh, it's going to have access to that, and oh, it's going to have access to the on key events. The key up event is, I think, deprecated in XRM. So even that is kind of going away. I don't know if you use that supported way or if you use the web browser way of just being on the field and adding an event
it's
to
just it's just all the web browser way.
Yeah. So I mean, technically yes, it's unsupported, but at the same point in time, it's like, well, it's built-in browser functionality. Like, that's not going away anytime soon. Trying to access the correct field may be an issue, but you're actually already in the event of the field, so I don't think that even is an issue anyway. So so your biggest pain point is, hey, how do I actually access the form context? So if you wanted to do that in a supported way, you'd have to add some code and register a solution or something to get it to work in a supported way, which would be horrible.
Yeah, which I didn't want to do. And so to be clear, like, we're not attaching into any, we're not registering any real events in the on the form. This is all just based on the fact that the tool itself just adds scripts to the page that then hooks into essentially the on-change event of every single text box and input, and watches those things as you enter text in them.
No, I'm interested if Notrods thinks the level up is going to work post-December when they remove some of the things that are currently deprecated.
Yeah, so I was inspired for my solution by what he had done. So we'll see, and I'm sure if that's not going to work, he'll figure out a better way of doing it, and I will then copy that into my solution.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, our solution is just copy of code from multiple tools, and it works great. But I do think it's interesting that you mentioned the first time you talked, Nick, you said that this solution would break everything they have, and then the second time you said that you just didn't care. So this is going great. Great interview. I just uninstalled. I just uninstalled the tool just in case, so I'm never going to use it.
So Gus, you're finding out why I'm not in sales. Did I just say,
you are the worst. Dude, you are the worst at selling this thing.
Does that mean I'm not getting my 10%?
Go ahead and try it, guys. Test it, and we just don't care.
Yeah.
That should be the slogan, Power Text. We don't care.
Is it still working? We don't know. No, but
exactly.
It's the good part is if you get people to use it, then it just incentivizes people to actually go out and fix it if it does ever happen to break.
Yeah, don't test on dev. Go production immediately. Just don't. Don't even test.
Testing's for sissies.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the things that are being done are not things that are scary as far as breaking code. I remember when I first started getting Dynamics, I'm like, all right, I can do whatever I want. And it's a web page, and I'm accessing all these like compiled variable names, like A_5 or something like that, and that like broke every week. And so once you have enough smarts about it, and you realize, oh, this is like it may change, and they're not gonna cry when they change it, but everything they have is already kind of dependent on it anyway, so it's not going to change very often. Okay, good. Like that supported change, which is much more in lines of what Nick's doing here, versus some of the stuff that I remember doing in like day one. Those are two different unsupported changes, and nothing's it just won't work. It's not like it's gonna kill things or break some or delete something. It's just you're gonna put your little shortcut in, and it won't autocomplete, and you're back to where you're at today. So yeah, not a big deal. Right, Nick? That was your idea. Not a big deal.
We'll give them their money back. I mean, if it doesn't work or whatever.
100% refund.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the chances that this tool will wipe out your CRM are pretty slim. I think like less than 5%. So I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that's every day. That's every day, right? Not just like an eternal use, but every day you use it, it's 5%.
5%. Yeah.
Every keystroke.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can get your data back by just sending 5 Bitcoin to Gus at.
Yeah, Gus will double the Bitcoin. So whatever you send him, he'll send you twice as much back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, that was Twitter falling flat in its face not too long ago. There, where they someone was able to have access to all of their accounts and post that. Did you guys see that or not?
Nope.
No,
I
what
did see
happened?
that.
I missed it.
No. Yeah, somebody got access to Twitter's tools that they use, and they posted as Elon Musk, as Bill Gates, as Apple. Hey, I'm feeling generous. Donate money to this Bitcoin account, and I'll double your money back. And so they, within an hour, I think they got like $120,000 or something like that. So
Wow.
So yeah, way to go, Twitter, for having tools that you can use to post to somebody else that are available enough that people could take advantage of them in a horrible, horrible, horrible way. Although they could have done much worse. So as far as making money out of it, I think they did a piss poor job. But yeah, whatever. Okay, so I definitely got off topic there. So yeah, all things being considered, this is actually a really cool tool, something that would be very, very helpful if you're doing any sort of typing in with text, even if it's something simple like you're constantly having to copy this value from this particular lookup field and put it in a text box. Like that would make life way easier for users. And I know there are always going to be workarounds, and if something does happen to break it, it won't be too big of a deal to break it. But the part where you don't like the way the formatting looks and the out-of-the-box functionality, you may have to get stuck with that one, right? Right, Nick?
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the colors, we don't care.
I care.
That's only because you're a Swede, right?
Yep.
Swede
We
cares?
care.
Yep.
We care.
Yep. Well, I went to IKEA this week. I thought of you. It was great.
Lovely.
So I still haven't put together the furniture yet, so I have to see if I need to swear about it. But
I had a burger today. I didn't think about you. I'm sorry.
I'm so sad. So sad.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on the tool that we're missing, guys? Anything else we need to call out? Power text. Is it
No,
gonna be
I
called
think
Power Text for data flex? That almost kind of rhymes.
Power Data Flex Text. No, it's just Power Text. No, it's just again free, and as long as you're using Chrome, you'll be able to use it as a plugin. There's
Edge.
a few. Do you think Edge Chromium will work? Will work with it? Okay. Well,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we did that on purpose. And so yeah, just download it for free. Install it, test it. Hopefully, it won't break your stuff, but if he does, Nick won't care. And yeah, I mean, it came from the need from an actual customer. So every time we have the ability to solve a problem, because I bet a lot of customers have this problem, they never thought that it could be a solution for it. So this came from an actual need from an actual customer, and I'm excited that by the time this is out, it will be available on the Google plugin store, and you can test it. We've been testing obviously a previous version of it. It works great, and I'm sure that the next version with some of the enhancements that Nick made during the recording of this podcast will be even better.
And is it Power Text with a space between, or is there no space and a capital T?
No,
Or
we went full Microsoft, Power Space Text, just like Power Apps and Power BI.
I just make sure, because Jonas needs to know who he needs to go and attack whenever they get the capitalization.
I heard you say it. If I see anything else, I'm hunting you down.
Awesome. Well, thanks for all the work, Nick. I appreciate that, and the community does as well. And Gus, thanks for making people do your dirty work. That's a special gift. Special gift. Nick and Gus, how can people get a hold of you?
So if you want me to find me on Twitter, I tweet under engineered_code, which is my company. You can find me on LinkedIn and reach out. Yeah. What I do, when I'm not doing Gus's dirty work is I focus on Power Apps portals. So if you ever want to chat portals, reach out to me, and I'm always happy to do that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Right.
And to me, the easiest way is you can just message me on Twitter. Obviously, I host the CRM MVP podcast, so info@crmmvppodcast.com is my email address if you want to reach out there with questions about that. And obviously the YouTube channel, which this week you, Daryl, hosted the 2-Minute Tuesday. And Jonas has hosted 2-Minute Tuesdays. Nick has hosted 2-Minute Tuesday. And obviously I've hosted a bunch as well. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. I want to make sure that all these videos from all these MVPs get to be the number one, Dynamics 365 / Power Platform channel out there, because there's some other ones that have more subscribers and more people following it, but I mean, they don't have Daryl Labar. So let's get to number 1.
Yeah. I will say that 2-minute countdown is tough. I think I was like 3.5 minutes, and I cut a whole like minute and a half out of what I was going to say once I got to that point. So I was like,
well,
okay,
I know.
Gus
I
never makes it in 2 minutes.
I get complaints all the time, like, oh, I can't believe you never do 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, you host one and you do it under 2 minutes. Go ahead.
What do you want from me?
Yeah, and then 10 minutes later, he's like, oh, I don't know how. I thought it was 2 minutes. Yeah, I know. It goes by fast.
Awesome. So, Jonas, that's how our listeners can get hold of our guests. How can they get hold of us?
Well, just like Nick, we are on LinkedIn. So look up XrmToolCast there. You'll get news and updates about episodes coming. And, well, of course, on Twitter, at XrmToolCast. Email us if you want anything in private, cast@xrmtoolbox.com.
Awesome. Well, Gus, Nick, thanks again, both of you, for coming and sharing the tools you guys made.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Bye. This has been the XrmToolCast with Jonas Rapp and Daryl Labar. If you have any questions for Jonas or I, or suggestions for future episodes, please send them to cast@xrmtoolbox.com or tweet to XrmToolCast.